why focus on that, you know? So,
Mm.
but we have to know a little bit about these things, and then so that we, at least so we don't fall in the trap, you know. We don't want to fall in, so we don't want to be like, what do you call it? Not, there's another word for ignorant. We don't want to be like just naive. You don't want to be naive about all this things that are going on in the world. So we should know about it, but detached from it. You have to have knowledge of it and then be detached from it. That's the recommendation.
Mm.
So we shouldn't be foolish to get sucked into all these things. And so you know about it, but we're detached from it. But what we actually concentrate on is we concentrate on Krishna, his names and pastimes and his words and everything, his beautiful form and everything like that. And that's the idea. Yeah. Okay, shall we continue? We're nearly at the end of the purport. Let's see if we can do it this week. Huh? Mantra 10. Okay, reading from Isopanisad. Mantra 10.
I'll just put the light on.
You won't even need the book, Deepa. You've memorized it. At least for the purport, right? You need the book.
Just for the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Anya devahur vidyaya.
Anya devahur vidyaya.
Yadahur vidyaya.
Devahur vidyaya.
Eshu shumadiranam.
Madhiranam.
Yenastad vichachakshire.
Yena stat vichachakshire.
Okay, your turn.
Anya devahur vidyaya.
Anya devahur vidyaya.
Anya devahur vidyaya.
Yadahur vidyaya.
Iti sushrumadhiranam.
Eshu shumadiranam.
Yena stat vichachakshire.
Yenastad vichachakshire. I'd like to read the translation, please.
Oh. Okay. I didn't even have it open at the right page.
That's all right. That's all right.
Um,
Oh, yeah. I can read it, and you read the purport. I'll read the translation. The wise have explained that one result is derived from the culture of knowledge, and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience. So that's exactly what we're saying. You know, one result you get from the culture of Krishna consciousness, you know, thinking about Krishna, remembering Krishna, which is what is the result? Bliss and happiness and eternal life. You go back home, back to Godhead, get liberated, eternal life. And another result is obtained from the culture of, you know, COVID consciousness, you know, and all the materialistic and government conscious and everything like that, and bodily conscious, all this kind of consciousness. If we you know, cultivate all this kind of thinking and remembering, then what's the result? Like I said, you know, you becomes very miserable, very depressed. And then the future, you have to take birth again and go through it all over again. So keep coming back to the material world, samsara, the cycle of birth and death. What is samsara? That means the cycle of birth and then old age and then disease and death. So like that disease, isn't that right? So we're all facing, you know, so much talk about disease. But that's what you get if you have a material body. You know, that's the complete package. What's the complete package of having a material body? You know, there's birth, there's old age, there's disease, there's death. So that's just part of the package. You can't have a material body without disease. It's impossible. Even if there's no COVID, there'll be something wrong with our heart, something wrong with our lungs, something wrong with the kidneys, something wrong with our back, something wrong with the skin, something wrong with the eyes, something somewhere between something between your toe and your head. Will be something wrong with it, you know? So that's just the nature of the material body. It's always breaking down, you know, there's always something there, you know. So that's expected when you have a material body. But the solution to that, if you're sick of getting disease, the real solution is have a spiritual body. Get rid of the material body, have a spiritual body. The spiritual body never gets disease. So then the problem solved. So, but just focusing on, thinking about diseases and that all the time is just going to make it worse. We have to take up the process of surrendering to Krishna and following his instructions if we want to get free from this. If you try to just counteract the diseases, which is what everyone's doing, that's never going to work. You can't, by our material endeavor, you can't counteract birth. You can't counteract old age. You can't counteract disease. You can't counteract death by material processes, by our own endeavors. There's only Krishna can get us out of these things. And that's only if we surrender to him and follow his instructions. And then he'll guide us out of here, because he created the system. He created the system. He knows what's going to entangle us more, and he tells us, and he knows what's going to get us out of here, and he tells us. So then, and that's our free choice, whether we're going to do that. So that's the option. So yeah, he's giving us that option, right? One result from the culture of knowledge, another result from the culture of ignorance. So that's the choice we have. Yeah. Okay, so we're on the last page of the purport, starting from the material body. So you could read that.
The material body and mind are bad bargains for the spiritual living entity.
Confirmed. That's what we said.
The living entity has actual functions in the living spiritual world, but this material world is dead. Yeah. As long as the living spiritual spark and manipulate the dead lumps of matter, the dead world appears to be a living world. Actually, it is the living souls, the parts and parcels of the Supreme Living Being, who move the world. Dhiras have come to know all these facts by hearing them from superior authorities, and realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles.
Okay, we'll stop there for now. So remember last week we read about that section of the purport was talking about dhiras, and Prabhupada said dhira means one who's not disturbed being in the material world by material illusion. One's not disturbed by illusion. That's a dhira, which it translates as a sober person in the Bhagavad Gita. Then Prabhupada translates dhira as a sober person. That's first written in the first verse that's in is second chapter, text 13, which is a famous verse about the changing of the body. And that a sober person, it mentions in that verse 2:13, is not bewildered by the changes of the body. The changes of the body. So the body is changing from youth to old age. And death, the body is changing into, the soul is changing into, transferred to another body at the time of death. So a sober person is not bewildered by these changes of body. So just like the soul is transferred from the young body to, well, a baby's body to a young body to a middle-aged body to an old body to a dead body. So in the same way, from a dead body to another baby's body, so we've already been transferred so many bodies, because this is not one body. I mean, that's the ignorance, the illusion that we think, oh, this is just one body. But if we all brought out our photo album, if you looked at your body deeper when it was, 6 months old or 2 years, 5 years, you wouldn't recognize it to what it is now. It's completely changed. And it's not just grown. We say, oh, you've grown, but it's not just grown. It's actually changed. It's a different body. Even scientifically, every cell in your body is changed within a 7-year period. There's not a single cell in your body that lasts for more than 7 years. So the changes are taking place so slowly that therefore you don't notice it. It's like a car, right? One day you change a tire, another day you change the door, another day you change the windscreen, another day you change the paint color, like that. So the car seat, and then over a period of time, you have a whole new car. One day you change the engine like that. So it's like that. So even the heart cells and the brain cells and that, they're all changed. They deteriorate, and then the body excretes those cells, and then new ones are generated, and then slowly you have a whole new body. Have you ever wondered why your house gets so dirty? Why everyone's house? It's because all our skin is falling off. All our skin is like falling off, and that's most of the dirt is actually our skin. Our bits of our body is fallen off, during the day, during the night, like that. It's all falling apart. Bits fall off, and then new bits of skin are created. And this purport today is talking about the understanding that actually this whole material world is just dead. It's dead matter. But then we say, but no, it's alive. Everything's alive. It's not dead. The trees are alive, the animals are alive, the fish are alive, the humans are alive. Yeah, it seems like the matter's alive because the living soul is inside it. As soon as the living soul leaves the dead matter, then you can see what it was all the time. But it was always dead matter. Like a good example is a car, right? A car, as long as there's a driver inside the car, it seems like it's alive. Lights flash and the windscreen wipers move and it goes very fast, and the wheels are turning and it zooms past and everything. But it's actually, the car is dead. It's just dead matter. But because the driver is inside, the conscious driver, then it seems like it's alive. But of course, as soon as the driver gets out of the car, then does the wheels turn? Does it make noise? Does the lights go? Nothing happens. It's completely dead as soon as the driver leaves. So as soon as the soul leaves the body, we call that a dead body. But actually, it was always dead. It was always dead. It was never alive. Even now, right? I mean, this body is dead matter. I mean, it's just made of what? Earth and water and fire and you could call it different elemental names, calcium and phosphorus and potassium and sodium and sulfur and everything like that. But it's just dead matter. It's made up of chemicals. But, it's not that the chemicals are alive. But the chemicals are dead, but it's because the soul is inside this lump of chemicals. Prabhupada, what does he say? It's a lump of, what does he say? A lump. He's used the word lump somewhere. Oh, he says, yeah, dead lumps of matter. So it's just a dead lump of matter, but even now it's a dead lump of matter. It's not that when the soul leaves the body, it's a dead lump of matter, but now it's a living body. No, it's a dead lump of matter right now, but it seems like a car. It seems like it's a living thing because it's moving and making noises and that, but that's actually happening because of the driver. It's happening because of the driver is inside. That's the thing. So the only thing that's alive is the soul. The only thing that's alive is the soul, not the matter of this material world. So Prabhupada's saying here that the sober person understands that. And what's the importance of understanding that the world is dead matter is that we should become detached from trying to, what are we trying to do? Should we become detached from trying to, what are we trying to do in this material world?
take care of the dead lump of matter.
Yeah, we're trying to take care of it and make it comfortable. We're trying to enjoy it. Yeah. So Prabhupada says that, you know, the modern society aim is to make this body comfortable, you know, which is what you're saying, take care of it. Same thing, to take care of it and make it comfortable, you know, to make it happy, enjoy, you know, this body, you know. So, but the thing is to understand it's just a dead lump of matter. It's like a bag of chemicals. So why do we put so much energy into this dead lump of matter? What? Oh, and then you might say, okay, well, okay, even if I do accept this as a dead lump of matter, but and you're saying, you know, it's not so important, you know, don't spend all your energy on it. But then what to do? But then what you should do is put energy into the living force within this dead lump of matter, the living force. Like, for example, we know about Lord Chaitanya, right? What is the meaning of Chaitanya? It means the living force. His name, Chaitanya, means the living force, the life force, the living force. So, of course, Lord Chaitanya is God, and God is the ultimate life force. You know, and we're part of him. The soul is part of God. So we also are a living force. We're also Chaitanya, a living force, a life force. And he's the supreme, he's the original life force. And our life force comes from him because we're part of him. So that's what we should focus on, is the living force, not just the dead matter. Of course, I mean, the dead matter can be useful, and that's why Prabhupada started off saying, what did he say? Make a bad bargain, but you make the best out of a bad bargain, right? So this dead lump of matter is a bad bargain. Actually, the soul doesn't need a material body. We're a lot better off if we don't have a material body. In a spiritual body, we can do everything. We can fly and you know, we live forever and we don't get old, we don't get sick, and we have arms and legs, but they're spiritual arms and legs and spiritual eyes and everything. So it's not like we need this body, but now that we're in this body, especially the human body, we can use it for getting out of this body. So it's like there's a saying, right? You can use a thorn to take out a thorn. If you get a thorn in your body, what is the best process to remove that thorn? You get another thorn. You get another thorn and you use it to pull out the thorn. So it's like we're using this body to get rid of this body. Does that make sense? You know, so we use this human body to realize the process, to practice the process for getting free from the body. You know, if you don't have this human body, then it's very difficult or impossible to get out of this material world, to go back to the spiritual world. Because Krishna has especially designed this human body amongst all the species. You know, 8,400,000 species in the universe, 400,000 different kinds of human beings. Some are less civilized, some are more civilized. And the further civilized they become, the more conscious they are. They have a greater culture in terms of social culture and psychological and arts and all these developed society, and and an opportunity is there to understand, you know, who am I and why am I here and why am I suffering and what's the solution and all these kind of things. So in a civilized human society, we have that opportunity to understand these things. And of course, many don't do that. They don't use it for that. But that opportunity is there. That opportunity is there. So we should take use of this human body to to practice the process of how to get free from this human body, how to get free from all, not just from the human body, but from any body. Any material body is a bad bargain. So, but only in this human body we have an opportunity to get out of this cycle of birth and death. And so it is very valuable. So it's said that although the human body is temporary and it has its miseries packed into it, but it's very valuable because only in the human life, like I said, can we get out of the cycle of birth and death. So it's said to be very valuable. Arthadam. Arthadam means valuable. Adruvam means temporary. So although it's temporary, but it's arthadam, it's very valuable because we can get free from suffering if we use the human body properly, like this verse is about. If you follow the culture of knowledge, then you get one result, which is you get out of the material world and the real eternal blissful life. And but if you don't understand the value of the human life and you just use it like the animals use their life, which most human beings we see do that. They don't understand the real value of human life for self-realization, for moksha, for going back to the spiritual world, back to Godhead, to Vaikuntha. They just use it like the animals, so it means they haven't understood the value. They're just eating like the animals eat. They sleep like the animals sleep. They have sex like the animals have sex. And they will defend themselves like the animals will defend themselves. So all the animal propensities, if we just use it for that, then it means we haven't utilized the real value. I mean, that's why you're an accountant, right? So that's what it's all about, that you want to utilize the money for the best purpose, to get as much money as you can. And then not only that, but as you know, it's not just about making money, is it, Deepa? It's about not losing it. Because it's on one side you can make money, but if on the other side you lose it all, then what's the point of that? So there's two things, right? How to get the most out of your money and not to waste it, not to waste it, not to lose it. So, human life means you've got something very valuable, very precious, more precious than any amount of money, because this can bring us eternal happiness. As you know, money can't bring eternal happiness, can it? It can bring you happiness for half an hour or 6 months or 6 years or 60 years, but not forever. So, and you can't how much money can you take with you, do you reckon, into your next life? Nothing, It said you come into this world naked, right? And you leave naked, come empty-handed and you leave empty-handed, so, but this human life, yeah, it's the real value. The real value can get us the eternal blissful life. So yeah, most people haven't understood how precious, how valuable the human life is, and they just waste it. That's why you need an accountant, right? To not waste your money. So why do we need a guru? You just use that same example. Why do you need an accountant? Not to waste your money, to make the most out of your money. So why do you need a guru? Same thing.
To not waste the life.
Not waste your life. Because we're wasting our life. Just sex, drugs, rock and roll, eat, drink and be merry, like that. We're wasting our life. One song by Narottam Das Thakur, it's said to be Prabhupada's favourite bhajan. I mean, I also find it's one of my favourites. The meaning of it is so amazing, and the sound of it. Hari Hari Bifale Janama Gainainu Manushya Janama Paya Radha Krishna Nabhajiya Janiya Shuniya Bisa Kainu Janiya Suniya Bisa Kainu beautiful Bengali bhajan by Narottam Das Thakur. And the meaning of that first verse is that, "Oh my Lord Hari, oh my Lord Hari, Hari Hari, Bifale Janama Goinainu." That I have wasted my life without any purpose, without any value. I wasted my life. Why? Because Manusha Janma, I had this human life. But Radha Krishna Nabhajiya, and I haven't worshipped Radha and Krishna. I haven't worshipped Radha and Krishna. And therefore, because I had the human life and I didn't worship Radha and Krishna, Janiya Suniya Visakainu. Visa means poison. And if you unknowingly drink poison without your knowledge, you by mistake, someone slips poison there. That's very bad, of course, because you'll die. But what if you know that there's poison there and you still take it? So non-human life, like animals, birds and that, they have no knowledge. They're ignorant. They go through life, just eat and sleep, have sex, fight, everything. They don't know. But human being knows that there is a God and there is a soul and that we are servants of God. But we don't do it. We don't follow. Still, we just do like animals. Then what is that? That means knowingly we're drinking the poison, and we're going to die. And human being knows that death is coming, and then that rebirth will be there, maybe there. So in any real culture, they know that, but we don't do anything about that, stopping the rebirth. So that is a really lamentable situation. So Narottam Das Thakur in this bhajan is feeling like a ordinary person should feel. Of course, he is very elevated. He is not wasting his life. But he is very humble, like we read, right? What's the first element in knowledge that we read in this verse from the 18 points is humility. So he has that knowledge. He's so humble devotee, and every humble Vaishnava feels that, I have no bhakti, I have no devotion, I'm just a materialistic person, I'm a sinful person. He's very humble. He's not puffed up, not proud, which is number 2, is to not be proud. So we should be humble, not be proud. So any genuine devotee feels like that. So he's feeling like that, which should be how we feel, very humble and prideless, and lamenting that we're wasting our time, wasting our life if we're not worshipping Radha and Krishna. And what's the solution? That we should worship Radha and Krishna, and then we are making the most out of our valuable life. And that's the real purpose of human life, to worship Radha and Krishna. And then instead of taking poison, we're taking the nectar of immortality. That's called Amrit, like we have in the temple. In the temple, they give you the Charanamrit, isn't it? Like in Yogakula, the Charanamrit. That means the nectar from the feet of the Lord. Charana means Krishna's feet, from his Charana. Then, so Amrit means nectar, but it also means immortality, immortal. It means no death, because mrityu means death. But if you put an A in front of it, like my name, right? Bhaya means fear. If you put A in front, abhaya means no fear. So mrityu means death. And Amrit. Amrit means no death. So basically immortal, deathless. So like if you taking this nectar from the feet of the Lord, this is also going to make you deathless. It's going to make you eternal. So the whole process is Amrit, the whole process. If you take the chant Amrita, you'll become immortal. If you chant Hare Krishna, you'll become immortal. If you hear Sri Isopanisad Bhagavad Gita, you're going to become immortal. Your life is going to become nectar and you're going to become immortal. So, I mean, you're getting the very best, the nectar, and also you're avoiding all kind of, horrible situations like that. So, but then why don't we take it up? And that is the Maya. That's the illusion. Thank you, Babu. I guess that's the power of the illusion, that we don't see it. We don't see it. And the Srimad Bhagavatam in the second canto, I use the word pasyan apina pashyati. Pasyan means although we experience that people are taking birth and growing old, getting sick and dying and everything like this, and the same thing's going to happen to me. It happened to my great-great-grandparents. It happened to my great-great-grandparents, my parents, and then I'm next, So although we see that everyone is dying around me, but we think we're not going to die. So that means pashanapi na pashyati. We don't see it. Why don't we see that? I mean, we see it. I mean, I went to his funeral and I went to her funeral, and soon they're going to be coming to my funeral. So but we don't see my funeral. We can't see that. We think we live like we're going to live forever. So that's the illusion, such powerful illusion. One time Yudhisthira Maharaj was asked by Yamaraj, what's the most amazing thing in the world? And he answered very rightly, he passed the test of Yamaraj, that the most amazing thing is that although we see that, that all the living entities are dying all around us, but we think we're not going to die. We live like we're never going to die. So that's amazing. And that's actually the amazing power of Maya.
The ultimate,
that covers. What's that, the ultimate?
Ultimate ignorance, isn't it?
Ultimately what, isn't it? What?
It's ignorance.
Ignorance, yeah. So illusion, ignorance, interchangeable, but it's a powerful energy, a powerful force, keeping us in ignorance like that, and that's an energy of God. And then you could say, well, oh, that's pretty evil of God, to put such an energy on us. But actually, why is it on us, if influencing us? Is because originally we wanted it. Because we wanted to forget God, so it's actually, this energy is working on us because we desired to enjoy without God. We wanted to forget God, we wanted to enjoy without God, and that is written in the 7th chapter, text 28 of the Bhagavad Gita. Echa dvaisa samutaina dvandva mohana bharata samahan sarvabhutanam sarga yanti parantapa. That our coming into this material world originates from this icha. Icha means desire, and dvaisa means hatred or envy. So it's starting, our coming into the material world, the starting point is this, that we had a desire. What is that desire? Prabhupada mentions in the purport. That we wanted to be Krishna, that we wanted to be the enjoyer, we wanted to be Krishna, we want to be the supreme. So we want to imitate Krishna. And then because that desire to be Krishna is there, we hate Krishna. Because just like in any business, right? If you have a desire to be the CEO, what also comes alongside that? I don't like that bugger that's sitting in the seat that I want. He's occupying the seat I want. That stupid bugger. I should be there, not him. He's a rascal. So if you desire to take someone's position to be a particular person, then obviously you don't like that person.
Mm.
Why does he have all that money? I should have that money. I'm going to get rid of that guy and take all of his money. Why does he have that woman? That woman, I should have that woman. Get rid of him and then I'll take her. So it's like that. So there's a desire to occupy the Lord's position and an envy or hatred of him, a dislike. We dislike Krishna. One time I was going door to door distributing books, and one of my favorites is Krishna books, so I'd often hand that to someone, and there was a lady there at the door, and so she looked at the picture of the front, which is what's on the front of Krishna book, Krishna. So there's Krishna's picture there with Radha, and she said, talking about the picture that she's looking at of Krishna, why is he so short? And I was like, huh? What? Why is he so short? Krishna's not short. So that thought had never come into my mind that Krishna is short, because he's not short. But why did that thought come into her mind that Krishna is short? It means she doesn't like this person because he's short. And, she's immediately finding fault with Krishna. So why is that there? Because she's...
Short?
No, because she's envious. Because she doesn't like Krishna. She doesn't like God. Because she's envious. So, see, Krishna's in her heart. Krishna's in our hearts. Krishna knows what we desire. Krishna knows that you want to be God. Okay, then you're not going to like me. So, when you see my picture, then you're going to think that I'm short. So, I mean, that idea is supplied by God in her heart, because God in her heart knows that she doesn't like him. Okay, so God doesn't force. If you don't like him, he's going to help you.
Mm.
You understand that? Free choice he's giving us, like you give your kids free choice. So if you don't like him, then he's going to help you with that. Like that. So, okay, you don't like me, I'll give you all kind of reasons. I'll give you all the reasons why you shouldn't like me. And the atheistic people will blaspheme God from morning till night. They'll have hundreds and thousands of reasons why there's no God, or God is dead, or God's evil, or I'm God, or whatever like that. So where all these ideas come from? Come from God. Because God knows that you desire to be God and you don't like him, and like that. So then he'll help you. And you'll never see the real God. You'll never see. Actually, it's not correct. You will see, but at the time of death. So it said the atheists see God at the time of death. And that's Mrityu Sava Haraschaham, 1034 in the Bhagavad Gita. It says, I am all-devouring death. So it says that, Prabhupada explains that the atheists, the asuras, they do see God. Because they're always saying, right, you show me God, then I will believe. Yeah, but he will show himself at that time. And you'll be dragged to the Narakaloka, to the hellish planets, and then, punished in so many ways for all the abominable things that we've done, all the lying and cheating and killing and murdering and everything like that. So then we'll see God, at that time of punishment. But the devotees, they see God at every moment. Premanjana charita bhakti valochanena santa sadaivardiya suvalokayanti yam shama sundara chintya guna sarupam govinda maripurusham tamaham bhajami. So it says when the eyes of the devotee anointed by the salve of love, so if you have eyes of love, then you can see God, Shama Sundar, everywhere. Like we were talking about that on Thursdays, right? That you see the advanced yogi sees everything within God and God within everything. So when you have that love, like we're talking about that's the qualification for seeing God. When you have love, then you can see God everywhere. You can see everything within God, God within everything. So, but atheists, yeah, they will see God, but not in a very pleasant way, not at the time of death, So, but ultimately, yeah, we cannot escape our relationship with God, So and that's why if we have knowledge, like this culture of knowledge, we realize that, well, why am I fighting against God? Because even myself, I'm part of God. The body is part of God. Everything is God's energy. Why do I always want to resist it? Why don't I just accept the fact? What is the fact? Like Prabhupada says in one purport, beautiful, that he says, you can become Krishna conscious in a moment, or not in millions of lifetimes. It simply depends on you accepting the fact. But then what is that fact? That fact is that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And the fact is also that we are his eternal part and parcel servant. And that we should, if we want to be happy, we should serve him. And if we don't serve him, then, which is impossible because everything is his energy, then that just leads to misery. So these are the facts, and if that penny drops, which it can drop in a moment, like he's saying, or not in a very long time, but if that penny drops and you have that knowledge, then as soon as you have that knowledge and you accept, well, I can't escape God, Krishna. So why don't I just accept that? Why, like Prabhupada says in Kali Yuga, we're so rebellious. But why do we do that? We're just such a rebel. It's like if you just like fighting for the sake of fighting, and what are you going to go up against? A whole army of tanks and planes and machine guns, and what do you have? A bow and an arrow. Who's going to win? Or your fists. It's like that. It's like a hopeless fight. Why we're going to go against God? He's everything. Even I am myself and part of God. Why do I resist that and go against that? So basically, that's like actually in one place, Prabhupada explains this as he explains this is like hating ourselves. We're envious of our own self. Envious of our own self. Because we're part of God. So if you hate God, means you're hating yourself, really. You understand? You understand what he's saying? That you're envious of your own self. If you're envious of God, basically you're envious of your own self. It means you hate yourself. Because our own self is inseparable from God. We're part, little tiny, like a little spark of a fire. You can't separate it. A ray of light from the sunshine. A drop of water out of the ocean. You can't separate. So we're part of God. So to hate God actually means you're also hating yourself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It means we're envious of our own self, ultimately, without maybe consciously realizing that. But practically speaking, we're envious of ourselves if we hate God. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mind bender. Because in illusion, we're thinking that God is over there and I'm over here, or we're not even thinking God is in the equation at all. But actually, the whole equation is God, and we're part of that. That's what we don't realize, and that's what a culture of knowledge means. When you have the complete picture, the complete knowledge, you realize there's nothing except for God, including myself, including my wife, including my kids, including everything, my dog and the house and the car and the money, and it's all God's energy. So if you hate anything, really, you're really shooting yourself in the foot. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Even like environmentalists, they realize if you hate nature, if you have a destructive attitude towards nature, you just shot yourself in the foot, because we need nature. Like example, if I poison all the water, which human beings have done that, if we poison the water, if we poison the air, we poison the food, then what are you doing to yourself?
Poisoning us.
You're poisoning yourself, because I need the water, because I need the air, because I need the food, because it's all connected, like that's what the environment, all the green, the naturalists and environmentalists, they're starting to understand that it's all one thing. It's all interconnected, right? So just like all nature's we're all part of that, like that. So it's like that. We're so intimately connected with God. If you hate God, you really hate yourself. It's like if you don't give a stuff about the water and you throw poison in there or throw poison in the air or whatever, you really hate yourself, because you just poisoned yourself. Because like they say, right, our body is 90% water. So if you poison the water outside, eventually it's going to come inside, and then you're buggered. I read something about the American Indians, and it was saying that, as they said previously, we could drink the water. But when the British invaded, the Europeans came to America, one of the wonderful things they did was poison all the rivers, so you can't drink it anymore. So they said, well, that's just stupidity, because we need water, and you just went and poisoned it all. So they said, there was 60 million Americans, what do you call them? North America, what do you call the American Indians? Yeah. There was 60 million American Indians before the Europeans came. And after the Europeans came, there was 800,000.
Wow.
So they not only destroyed the water, but they destroyed all the people. Can you imagine? So that if they said the First World War wasn't in 1914, they said the First World War was when, who was that guy that landed in the boat that discovered America? What was his name? Gianty, do you know?
Columbus?
Yeah, I think Columbus. Yeah, Columbus. So they said the First World War was when Columbus landed in, set foot in America, because that's when the slaughter started. Can you imagine 60 million population went down to 800,000? 59,200,000 people killed. They said that was the First World War. But of course, we know there was even wars before that, like Bhagavad Gita, right? Actually, more people were killed in the Bhagavad Gita. So, but the wars are always going on. But all this is coming from that we desire to be God, and we're envious of God, and therefore we hate everything else as well. And instead, because of that original desire and hate, then we have desire and hate for everyone else too. So I desire to be the CEO, and I hate him. I desire that woman, and I hate this one, her husband, and like this. And so it goes on and on and on. But that's where it starts from. That's the top of the pyramid, from God. And if you hate God, you desire to be God, hate God, then we desire and hate everything else. Therefore, if you want to improve your relationship with everyone else, with your boss and your family members and friends and everything like that, and the animals and everything, the birds and the nature and everything, then you start with one person. Start with God. Fix up your relationship with God. Don't desire to be him, and don't hate him. And if you sort that out, then all of it, and amazingly, all the other relationships get sorted out. Like Prabhupada, like one of the disciples said to Prabhupada, after seeing him interact perfectly with everyone on the morning walk, he said, Prabhupada, everyone loves you. And Prabhupada said, yes, because I love everyone. So that's going to be there, because he loves God and he doesn't hate God. So he did. he loves God and he doesn't hate God and he doesn't want to be God. And therefore he doesn't have any material desires. He doesn't want anything from anyone. He doesn't dislike anyone. He doesn't hate anyone. He's friendly to everyone. Like, how would he sign off every single letter of thousands of letters that he wrote? Your ever well-wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Like that. So he's a well-wisher of everyone. Like that. So unfortunately we ran out of time, and unfortunately we didn't even finish the purport. So, but anyway,
We
this
just
is,
paragraph. That's all right.
I mean, if you have time, we can just read it, but otherwise we can continue next week.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's fine. We can continue next week.
Yeah, let's continue next week. Yeah, there's so much here. I mean, it's just so much there. There's no rush. But yeah, there's so much there, and in everything that Prabhupada says, everything that Krishna says, there's so much there. But yeah, that's a very important point, because this desire and hate idea, because this is the cause of us all being here. You know, and this is the reason why we're so ignorant and why we're so influenced by Maya. And it's not that God hates us and that he's put this terrible Maya on us, that's so much ignorance, he's just dropped it on us. No, that's because of the attitude that we had, that we had such a strong desire to take his position, and so much envy of him and hatred of him, and that he had to cover over that original knowledge of the soul and of God, and delude us into giving us what we thought we wanted, which we can play God. Oh yes, I am the controller of this family. I am the controller of this business. I am the controller of this country. You know, I am like that. So whether, you know, we want to be the temple president, the controller, or we want to be the prime minister, even like we see now, you know, the prime minister of New Zealand, Australia, everywhere, they're crazy, completely crazy. They had a desire to be the chief, you know, want to be the controller, they want to play God, and they're trying to control, you know, where you have to follow this law and you have to do what I tell you to do and everything. But they're just mad. They're just completely, everyone else can see they're a nutcase, but they think they're normal. But everyone else can see you're crazy, mate, you know, and they're just crazy. But that's what they want, you know, they want that. So in the material world, people want that. So Maya says, okay, you're the controller of New Zealand, you're the controller of this family, or at least if you can't control anything else, you're the controller of this dog, you know, the controller of this cat, or whatever, this house, or whatever like that. So that desire is there to control, to enjoy, like that. So we wanted that. So, okay, you want it, then I have to delude you. I have to delude you, you know, so that you can think like that. Otherwise, how can we think like that unless we're completely in ignorance? If we forget our original position. So Krishna has to completely wipe it out, who we really are, that we're his eternal servant. That has to be completely suppressed. I mean, it's not wiped out, but it's completely covered over. So that's what Maya means. It's a covering. It covers over our original knowledge, our real knowledge. It covers us over. And it makes you think, and it's something really artificial, a really, you know, illusory way that, you know, we are going to be happy in this world. We're going to enjoy. And
Make sure those who eventually turn to him, it's real, it's really real, and it's yeah, because it'll take quite a lot to get out from that Maya and to actually seek him out, or to turn to him.
Yeah.
So he it's kind of a bit of a weeding out process.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But definitely he doesn't want us to be here. He wants us to be with him. It's not that he likes the situation, that actually we've created the situation, not him. He's has arranged everything, but like I said, following our crazy desire to
Mm.
be God. You know, so following that, he has created the material world, he's created Maya, he's created the material bodies, but it's all following our foolish desire to want to, you know, usurp, which means to, you know, to
Yeah.
throw him out and take his place, you know. So it's crazy. But yeah, as soon as we start to awaken, then by the mercy of the devotees and the spiritual master, and if we become start to wake up, then definitely he'll help us, and we see that he does help. He does help the person, the soul that starts to realize I don't want to try to be God anymore. I don't want to hate God anymore. You know, as soon as we start to want to get out of that mode, then he'll definitely help us, and we see that he does. You know.
Mm.
And that's why he keeps coming to the material world. Krishna came before that, Lord Ram came before that, Narasimha came. After that, Lord Chaitanya came. After that, Prabhupada came. You know, so many, and left the Bhagavad Gita, Isopanisad, the, you know, Mahamantra, Mahaprasadam, New Gokula Farm, Go Radha Gokulananda standing there, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, Rathiyatra's there. You know, so much. He really wants to get us out of here. But
Mm.
we're, like I said, we're so rebels. But if the rebel surrenders, you know, I don't want to be a rebel anymore, then he'll help. As
Yeah.
long as we want to be a rebel, then he'll help us to be a rebel. But if you say I don't want to be a rebel anymore, I've had enough of being a rebel. It doesn't work. It sucks being a rebel and always fighting all the time and being afraid all the time and everything, running around all the time. Then he'll help you like that. So yeah. So therefore, the moral of the story is what we desire is very important. It's all comes down to what we desire.
Mm.
You know, so be very careful. We should all be very careful. What do we desire? What do we desire?
Mm.
Like Prabhupada said to my spiritual master, do you want to serve God or do you want to become God? It's very simple, but
Mm.
it's very important. What do we want? We have to go deep in our heart. Do we really want to serve God or do we really want to become God? You know, which means do you really want to enjoy this material world? Do you really want, like you said, just to care for the body and be comfortable body and enjoy the body? Is that really what you want? Or you really want to have an eternal life of loving service with God and with Krishna in the spiritual world? What do you want? So that's the first thing we have to address. You know, what is your goal? What is the biggest goal in your life, the most important goal? Do you want to enjoy in this world, one thing or another, or do you want to enjoy with Krishna?
Mm.
Enjoy serving Krishna. So this in Sanskrit is called prayojana. Prayojana means goal. Very important to know what your goal is. You know, because depending on what your goal is, you're going to follow a different process. Because that's why Prabhupada said that to my guru, because my guru asked him, he said, there's so many religions. And every religion says there's the right religion. So how do you know which religion to follow? And then Prabhupada answered by asking him a question, said, so do you want to serve God or become God? And we might think, well, what's that got to do with it? So then Prabhupada said that, well, the process of Krishna consciousness movement is all about serving God. That's all we do. That's the only thing we do in the Krishna conscious movement is serve God. You know, we chant, we hear about God, we chant God's names, we talk about God, we tell other people about God, we offer our food to God. You know, we offer artis to God and dress God, bow down to God. You know, it's all about service to God. But he was saying, but if you want to become God, there's so many other processes. And it's a fact, even these other so-called spiritual or religious organizations, pretty much most of them, it's all about becoming God. Now, I told you before about the Jehovah's, when they had that desire, crazy desires. And we just tell God what to do. You know, if you look at pretty much every other religion, it's like, God, get rid of all my enemies. You know, God, make my family happy. You know, God, make my business successful. God, give me more money. God, help me pass my exams. God, I need more food. You know, so basically we're God, you know, and you're telling God, you know, do this service for me. Do that. So you're like God's our servant, right? So you like ordering him, and he's supplying your orders. So Prabhupada would call it your order supplier, that we're treating God like an order supplier. We're giving the order and God is supplying. So you name it, you know, Christian, Hindu, Muslim, whatever like that. They're treating God like an order supplier. You know, we're giving the order, we're God. And like that. So that's the situation. So most other organizations, it's like that they're actually playing the role of God, and God has become their servant. But only in this organization is we don't want anything from God. We just want one thing: how can I serve you? You know, what service? And that's Prabhupada said when we chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is a prayer for service. Oh Hare Radha, oh Krishna, please engage me in your service. Like that. So it's a prayer for service. So we're not giving any orders. We're not asking for God to supply anything to us. You know, he can do whatever he likes. We're just asking only one thing: how can we serve God? So yeah, we've got to be careful what we desire. What do we desire? Otherwise, we might become Jehovah's if we want to be God. Yeah. Okay, we better let you go. Do you want to say anything, Deepa, to finish off? Anything comes to mind?
No, not really. Yeah. But there's plenty for thought. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah. No, thank you for taking time out for only me. I thought there would be others joining as well.
But we know, Deepa, you are very special. You're very special because you're very dear to Krishna. You're very dear, part and parcel of Krishna. So
Not at all.
as we become more Krishna conscious, we realize that every single entity, every single living thing is so special, so important. Prabhupada was just another level completely. One time his servant was noticed that Prabhupada was staring on the floor for a long time, just staring at one place on the floor, and he's wondering, what is my spiritual master doing? And then Prabhupada, as soon as he thought like that, Prabhupada said that Shrudakirti, there is one bug on the floor and he hasn't moved for a long time. And I think he must be hungry. Can go and get a prasadam flower. Go and get a prasadam flower and take him outside so he can get some nourishment.
Wow.
You know, he's the spiritual master of the whole universe, and he's so concerned about one tiny bug that's on the floor of his room. You know, so if Prabhupada loves the bug so much, how much did he love the people, you know, the devotees, you know? So he loved everything because he saw everything was very dear to Krishna. That, you know, Krishna loves the bug. The bug is part of him. So I have to love the bug too. Otherwise, how can we love Krishna? You know, so some people say, oh, you hate Krishnas, you just love Krishna, you don't love anyone else. But it's not true. If you love Krishna, you love everyone more. So, you know, the love for everything else will increase. The more our love for Krishna increases, the more our love for everything else increases.
Mm.
You know, that's the thing. That's a beautiful process, and that's what this verse is all about, right? If the culture of knowledge will have one result. So what a wonderful results you get from this culture of knowledge, you know, that you'll love Krishna, you love everyone, then you feel happy, all the time, and so many things. So there's wonderful results, so many wonderful results, and we experience them, and that's what makes us want to continue this culture more and more. But so many people, they don't know about this culture, and that's why Prabhupada wanted us to, after we educate ourselves, to educate other people. Very important. We let other people, because people don't know, because like I said, they've followed the path of ignorance for so long, they're so deluded. So, but we want to give them a taste of this culture of knowledge. So that's our mission. That's our mission. To wake ourselves up and then help wake others.
Yeah. Okay, Abhi, I
Okay,
think you
take
go.
care.
Your guest's still with you.